wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand. From the Caribbean, wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand. From your number one, from you ready for the competition. You not make intimidation. Woman or man.
Yeah, we're switching to cricket on the SportsMax Zone. Antigua and Barbuda Falcons kept their Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League playoff hopes alive when they defeated the Trinbago Knight Riders by 6 wickets in a chaotic contest at the Queen's Park Oval on Thursday. Here's Gerard Morris-Seeley with the recap.
Antigua and Barbuda Falcons arrived at the Queen's Park Oval with cautious optimism to face a Trinbago Knight Riders team not only seeking to secure a playoff spot, but one riding high on confidence from beating the defending champions the night before. Still, the Falcons, who had lost 6 of their 8 games so far, refused to roll over. And from Mohamed Amir bowling Sunil Narayan through the gate in the first over for 4, to Joshua James removing Nicholas Pooran for a 17-ball 14 in the ninth, to leave the host struggling at 49 for 4 at the end of 10 overs, it was difficult to tell which team was which. But the depth in TKR's batting showed its worth once again, with skipper Kyron Pollard dealing in sixes during his 37-ball stay at the crease, hitting 4 maximums on his way to 47 to get his team up to 134 for 8 at the end of their 20 overs. Chasing 135 for victory, the Falcons managed to keep pace with the run rate, needing to go at just about a run of ball with a score on 68 for 2 after 9. But all hell broke loose when Narayan removed the dangerous Hassan Khan for 20-ball 36 with the first delivery of the 10th. Controversy struck the very next delivery as the Knight Riders reviewed an LBW decision for Imad Wazim after the initial appeal was turned down. The decision, which was first overturned by the umpire upon review, was once again changed to not out following protests from the Falcons, which was sparked by a replay which showed the ball making first contact with Wazim's bat.
But clearly, on those last couple of replays, it was indicative of the ball coming off the inside edge onto pad.
More talking points followed when Falcons opener Justin Graves was retired out to bring the big hitting Fabian Allen to the crease, but the reprieved Wazim went on to star in a calculating and eventually match-winning innings of 36 from 27 as the Falcons got home at 135 for 4 in 19 overs. Both captains commented on that Wazim decision.
If I speak, I'll get myself into trouble, so again, it was a good game of cricket.
Chaos, absolute chaos. Look, I don't know what went on. He was given out when he shouldn't have been, and then he stood over the rope, and he probably shouldn't have, but he was told to. So, yeah, absolute chaos. I don't know what happened, and then we had a Ben Stokes incident as well. So I think this tournament just continues to entertain in different ways, and yeah, as I said, really happy with the win, and I thought we outplayed them in all facets of the game tonight, and we thoroughly deserved that win.
The Falcons remain in 5th on net run rate behind Guyana Amazon Warriors, but moved to 6 points, with the Knight Riders still in 2nd on 8 points.
Yeah, the CPL tournament that keeps on giving. Fazir Mohammed now joins us via Zoom to discuss the events that led to the Falcons win last night. Faz, it's great to have you on the SportsMax Zone. How are you doing, first of all?
Not too bad at all.
All right, sounds great. I want to get your take on that incident, Faz. Imad Wazim originally given not out by the on-field umpire, Chris Taylor. Then that was overturned by the third umpire, who then rescinded his decision to say that the batsman was indeed not out. Your take?
Well, there are a number of issues here. But of course, the trigger was the error by the television umpire, as far as not detecting that edge, that inside edge, which caused Imad Wasim to be so incensed. So you could say, yes, the umpire's error started it all. But then if we talk about the code of conduct, and I would assume there's a code of conduct for this CPL tournament, to be so openly questioning the umpire's decision in what appeared to be a very aggressive manner by Imad Wasim could land him in trouble. And then you had the reactions of the coaches. Curtly Ambrose, I think we weren't in any doubt as to his feelings, neither Phil Simmons for TKR. Then you had the captain, Kyron Pollard, even after the decision was made, continuing to prolong the issue to the extent that nothing was basically happening for about 10 minutes. I mean, most of the fans who were partying and whatever else they were doing probably didn't mind, because Maybe they weren't even aware of what was going on out in the middle, but it wasn't a good look. But in the end, it was triggered by that error. But credit to the official, I believe it was Nigel Duguid, for being honest about it, to acknowledge that he had made an error and calling on the on-field umpire to reverse the out decision to not out. And therefore, what followed thereafter showed an unwillingness to accept the final ruling of the umpire, and also a lack of awareness of the rules, because I think one of the big talking points was that Imad Wasim had already crossed the rope and gone back into the dressing room. And it seems to be one of those things that people assume that once you cross the rope, you can't come back in, which isn't true at all.
Yeah, very much the case, fans. That is not true at all, especially in a situation like this where he would have been given out and then the decision rescinded. Then, of course, the umpires have the power to say you can come back and have a bat because you never should have been given out in the first place. You touched on a number of issues there, Faz. The issue of the general attitude and behavior of players and coaches as well. Do you suspect there are going to be sanctions, and how strong do you think those sanctions are likely to be given what you saw last night?
Well, it really depends on what the CPL wants to do, because again, we have to be mindful that it's all about the presentation, it's all about the imagery, it's all about that good look, about entertainment. And officials cringe when they have controversies like this, or bacchanal, as we refer to it in Trinidad and Tobago, and those sorts of reactions, as we're seeing now from Curtly Ambrose. It's a very expressive individual anyway. Whether it goes beyond maybe a verbal reprimand, a quiet word, we'll have to wait and see, because it could actually stoke the fires even more if there's actually some sort of sanction, penalty, anything along that nature. We haven't heard anything, and even in the official CPL match report, you couldn't tell that this controversy erupted last night at Queen's Park Oval. So I'm sure they would like to calm the waters as quickly as possible, but surely there would have to be something said to not just TKR, not just the Falcons, but to everyone concerned, that it's not just about looking pretty for the audience, because you're talking about very competitive individuals, and when there's a high stakes game going on, emotions will bubble over. But to let them be aware that one of the fundamentals about accepting the umpire's ruling and not just prolonging it when you knew there was no way, once it was established that there was no reason for Imad Wasim not to resume his innings, that there was no point prolonging the discussion.
Yeah, you know, fans, I can just imagine someone somewhere watching this discussion and who would have looked at the incident last night and saying to themselves that given the nature of the decision, given how alarming the decision was from the television umpire to give Imad Wasim out in the first place, that it is understandable the behavior from Imad Wasim and from Curtly Ambrose, who is part of the coaching staff of the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. How would you respond to that?
Well, I've seen worse situations in the game. We've seen so many, and players might mumble, might curse under their breath and just accept it. But again, this is a franchise tournament. The rules might be a bit more relaxed, and okay, it wasn't a good look as well. And also, we have to acknowledge that if you talk to any TKR fan, they would say that he had no right to resume his innings because he crossed the rope. If you talk to a Falcons fan, they'll say that Curtly Ambrose, everyone else in the squad was absolutely right to behave and react in the way they did for the injustice that was being done. And therefore, it requires a level of impartiality to say, look, it's about indeed respecting the rules and the norms of the game. And I'm not going down this route of the so-called gentleman's game, which I promised to give Mariah an explanation of, which I never did. But anyway, the point is that yes, it didn't look good to have that going on. But again, it was triggered by an error. The umpires corrected it. And TKR, if they were aware of the rules, this thing about crossing the rope is an irrelevance. That they should have accepted it and moved on.
Yeah, and TKR went on to lose second time at the hands of the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. And Faz, that's another point of discussion now because TKR, Antigua and Barbuda Falcons seem to be the only team that can beat the TKR in such a manner.
Well, you hear about these things called a bogey team.
Yes.
You could have a situation where you're beating everybody. And then this team, which is middle of the road or might be struggling as the Falcons are in their first season with this new franchise, replacing the Jamaica Talawas, they just seem to have your number. And then we had that situation with Justin Graves being retired to allow for someone else to come in, even though at the end it was Imad Wasim taking the team to victory. So yes, whether or not it's a situation of tactics, of the quality of bowling, of the awareness of the Falcons. They've got an experienced tandem at the top in Shivnarine Chandapol and Sir Kirtley Ambrose. You never know, it might be that they just feel they have the better of TKR, and for the Trinbago Knight Riders, it's an immediate wake-up call if they were thinking that being at home, it was all going to be celebrations and whining and fetting and having a good time at Queen's Park Oval and then at the Brian Lara Stadium. Clearly, that is not the case, and it sends the message that every team will see this as a golden opportunity to cut down TKR in their home territory.
Yeah, and Faz, we don't have a lot of time, but quickly, do you have an issue with the move made by the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons to have Justin Graves retire out or hurt, whichever one it was, and have Fabian Allen come in?
None whatsoever. They did nothing wrong. It's all part of the game. A lot of these conventions, like running out someone who's backing up without giving them this warning, which seems to be part of the so-called gentleman's game, is foolishness. So from my reckoning, they did nothing wrong. They were utilizing their resources effectively.
Yeah, I am surprised actually that type of tactical move is not utilized more in the T20 international game or even in 50 over cricket. But Faz, thanks very much as usual for lending your voice to this conversation. We'll chat again soon.
Take care.
Yeah, by the way, Mariah, as I told you yesterday, the Falcons are still in it mathematically. And that win last night keeps them in it even more. Yeah, it's now time for our Angostura Play of the Day.
Gets the Yorker through. Brilliant from Dre Russ.
Rapturous ovation from those in here at the Queen's Park Oval. Short delivery followed by the fast Yorker. And if he's performing like this, then why not continue? Up with the pace, the variations, he's striking the ball well. In his 100th CPL match, Dre Russ is delivering cross-seam delivery and too good for Kofi James. Couldn't get the bat down in time, and it's another Falcon who has to take flight. James goes for 10, and it's 15 for 2.
Well, Mariah, you didn't get your 6 that you wanted from Thursday to be the Angostura Play of the Day from Andre Russell, but you've definitely this time around gotten a fabulous wicket and a Yorker. We don't see that enough, I think, anymore in the T20 and 50 over game. But, all right, we have to get out of here for now. But remember, we'll have more cricket for you tonight on the channel. The Ghana Amazon Warriors bowling off their home leg. They host the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots at the Providence Stadium. The action starts at 7 Eastern Caribbean time, 6 p.m. in Jamaica, and it will be live on SportsMax. And that comes up immediately after the SportsMax Zone.
Every preach, every part, every deal, every wicked, every soul. And the heart and soul and passion, and the culture, Caribbean blood. When people come out all nation, to the team in a unification. When the stadium run bleach at the grandstand, at the meaning of beautification. It's how we play. Yeah. Support your team, put on your color. Rough like sword, we not soft like butter. Them say them rough, we coming out rougher.